So this is the 7th session on the topic of music through Matlab, and we are going to study rhythmic patterns in this. Let us start. Now, when melodies are composed by musicians, it's largely a creative process, and that is something, of course, that cannot be taught. However, there are certain techniques that the musicians use, and we would like to study those techniques. So all melodies that you will come across, you will find that they are composed by using certain rhythmic patterns and also composed by using certain pitch patterns. Now pitch patterns we are going to study later, but in this today's session we are going to study rhythm patterns. Now rhythm occurs at many levels in music. So let us see what are these levels first, and then we'll take them one by one. One level is the beat level. So this depends on beat duration, or also called as matra duration in Indian notation. So that is our tempo. So at this level rhythm occurs. What are the other levels? It also occurs at a level called as measure or khand. In a short while we will see what exactly is the definition of khand or measure, but it occurs at this level also. Then it occurs at the cycle level. Cycle is a concept which is present in the rhythms of Indian music, although Westerners do not use the cycle term much. Then the rhythm also occurs at phrase level. So these are the various levels at which the rhythm will occur, and we are going to study them one by one. So let us start with tempo. Now tempo is specified in two ways. One is matra or beat duration, or you can also express it in terms of beats per minute, so called BPM, and obviously the two are related. So if matra duration is say d seconds, then the number of beats per minute or number of matras per minute can be easily obtained by dividing 60 by d. For example, if d is equal to 0.4 second, then beats per minute is 60 divided by 0.4, that is equal to 150. Now clearly the shorter the duration of the matra, larger will be BPM, and we say that tempo is faster. So larger BPM means faster tempo. It also corresponds to smaller matra duration. Alright. So this is the first level at which the rhythm occurs. And let us see a demonstration of this. So let's take a melody which is used for children, quite famous. And what we are going to do is to play this melody at 2 BPMs. First, when matra duration is 0.4 second, BPM is 150, and then we increase the BPM by making matra duration equal to 0.3 second. And let's see what happens. So first, let us play at this BPM. Alright. Now if we want to speed this up, we decrease the matra duration, and this is how it will sound. Alright. So that was the demonstration of rhythm at the beat level. Let us now go to the other levels, but in order to understand the other levels, we need to understand a term called a tal, which is of course a term defined in Indian music, although we shall see parallels to Western music also. So tal can be simply defined in a simple way as a repetition of cycles. But then what is a cycle? So each cycle is defined by two terms. One is the number of matras in the cycle, and number of vibhags, also called as khands. So the example of this is teen tal. There are many tals, but right now we are going to concentrate only on one tal, which we call as teen tal. Now teen tal has got number of matras which is equal to 16, and it has got number of khands or number of vibhags equal to 4. So this clearly means that each vibhag will get 4 matras, because there are 4 vibhags, 4 matras in each vibhag. So total is 16 matras. Incidentally note that this rhythm of teen tal is analogous to 4/4 rhythm in Western music. So those of you who understand the rhythmic notation in the Western music should note that that is analogous to teen tal. So we are not going through the definition of 4/4 etc. right now, but as we go along, we'll see how it corresponds to teen tal. Okay. So now the next rhythm level that we are trying to do is to distinguishing between khands, measures. How do you find out whether it is the first measure, second measure, third measure, fourth measure? In teen tal there are 4 measures. So how do you find out? So there are 2 ways of doing it. One is by rhythmic patterns, and the other is within the rhythmic patterns you use repetition and variety, which will tell you how to distinguish between measures. We shall see examples of this. And the other is emphasis and de-emphasis, but right now in this session we are going to concentrate only on repetition and variety. Alright. So let me give you some rhythm patterns for teen tal. So let us take this first measure or first khand. You may treat this as a measure in Western terms. We can treat it as a khand in Indian terms. So there are 4 matras. So 4 matras can be obtained in various ways. There are a large number of ways in which 4 matras can be obtained. For example, in this first khand, what we have done, we have used 3 notes. But we have used the first note of 1 matra duration, second note also of 1 matra duration. No suffix means, our convention is no suffix means 1 matra. But here I have provided a suffix 2. So G2, it means this is a note which has got 2 matras. So if you look at this measure, 1, 1, 2. So 1 plus 1 plus 2, so that is 4. And then this is repeated. So when it is repeated, you are coming back to S. So S R G2, you come back to S. So you are sort of able to distinguish the second measure from the first measure. You get a sense of it. So the second measure is identical to the first measure in terms of your notations. Then the third measure, again you got 4 notes. So this is slightly different than this, but each note is of 1 matra duration. That is why you got 4 notes in this. And finally, one more example of a different measure. You got a single note, but that of 4 matras, what the Westerners call as a whole note. Alright, so let us play this and see how it sounds, and you will be able to distinguish between various measures. So you can see. Okay, so this was example of one phrase. X1 can be called as a phrase. Actually, a musical phrase can have more than one cycle, but in this simple example we are assuming that the musical phrase corresponds to 1 cycle duration itself. Alright, now this is an example of another phrase in which the measures have got different patterns, different rhythmic patterns. This H stands for half matra. So S is of half matra, Shadaj again of half matra. So these two together will make 1 matra. RH again 1 matra. So 1 plus 1, 2. 1 matra here and 1 matra here. So this entire sequence of notes that you see consumes 4 matras. Although the number of notes are different, but the number of matras are 4. Again, here you got only 2 notes, but each note is of 2 matra duration. So they consume 4 matras again. This is similar to the first one, and the last one is again similar to the last note we had used in our earlier phrase. So let's play this and see how it sounds. So again you can see that because of the repetition of patterns and variety, we are able to distinguish between the various measures. So that is how you create rhythm at the measure level. Okay, actually these are some of the standard methods, but these are not the only methods. There could be many variations in this. I'm playing it again. Alright. Now let us see rhythm at a phrase level. So what do we do? X1 we have already generated, X2 we have already generated, and we now generate a 4-phrase melody by using, say, X1 followed by X2 and again X1 followed by X2. So you can see that there is a repetition in the phrase. Okay, X1 is repeated here and X2 is repeated here. So you will be able to sense the rhythm at the phrase level. And this is not the only possible way of doing it. You could have possibly done X1 followed by X1, then X2 followed by X1 and so on. Many combinations are possible, but you do whatever sounds good to the ear. Anyway, so let's see how this plays. So you can see that since we have repeated the phrase X1 and also repeated the phrase X2, and from X1 to X2 there is a variety. So it is possible to get a sense of rhythm by using repetition as well as variety in a proper way. And that's all in this session.